Hello algebra students, Mr. Choose here with Bear Algebra. Let's talk about factoring trinomials in the form of x squared plus bx plus c using what I call the MN method, because I'm going to try to find two numbers, m and n, and we're going to use grouping so that our answer is going to be x plus whatever number I found as m in parentheses times x plus whatever number I found in n. Make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel, make sure you follow me. I want to help you, and the only way I can do that is if you can watch my videos to understand some of the things that are causing you problems in algebra. So before we can start factoring, let's just do a real quick FOIL review. I did this in my first video. This is my second video on this topic. These are challenge problems we're going to work, but I just want to remind you what FOIL means. FOIL means first, outer, inner, and last, and most algebra teachers will teach FOIL nowadays. I wasn't taught it when I was in algebra class many, many years ago, but I will say this, it helps some students remember. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, which if you haven't, do it right now so that you get it done. But if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can search FOIL or multiplying binomials, and then these videos will come up. You can also look at my playlist for the multiplying binomials. I've got 4 different methods, and there's a 5th one I was going to add in there. So you're saying, yeah, but what does it really mean? It means if I have two numbers and I want to multiply them, two binomials, they're not numbers. This is a binomial, two terms. Binomial, two terms. I can take the first, which is y times y. Y times y is y squared. I can take the outer, which is 7 times y, which is 7y. The inner, 3 times y, which is 3y. And the last, 3 times 7, which is 21. And then I can combine like terms to get my original up here. All right. Now, you're saying, okay, well, this happens to be my very first problem. And it was in my mind, and so I redid it. But anyway, we're going to reverse this now and go backwards. And the idea is we need to come up with this m and this n. In this case, m would be 7, n would be 3. So that's what we're going to try to do in challenge problem 1. So challenge problem 1, it wasn't y, it was x. It is, so challenge 1. It's x squared plus 10x plus 21, and I have to get two binomials multiplied together to get my answer. Well, that f for first, I know that it's going to have to be an x in both of these. Now I just got to figure it out, and the more you do this, you're going to get faster at it. And when they are the simple ones, which don't have numbers in front of that x squared, people start doing it really, really fast. But until it makes sense, let's just go step by step here. So the very first thing I have to do is take A times C. And people are saying, well, what's A? Well, in our standard form of a quadratic, it's ax squared plus bx plus c. Well, our problem is 1x squared plus 10x plus 21. So I could say my A is 1, my B is 10, my C is 21. So A times C is 1 times 21. All right? So I'm going to take my 1 times my 21 to get 21. And so when I write it like this on my last terms, that's going to end up being mn. just because that's what I chose up there, because you got so many A's and so many B's floating around. So I have to take 21 and use a factor tree and find out all the factors of 21. Well, we know 1 times 21 is a factor, so I can take and write that down here. And 1 times 21, here's my M, here's my N, that equals 21. Yep, we did that one right. But what happens when we add them up? Because the M plus the N has to be that 10x right here. Well, I know it has to equal 10. Well, what's 1 plus 21? Does that equal 10? Nope. That's 22. That means I know these two are not the right answer. So I can just put a line through. I know they're not going to work. Now the 21, I can't divide it by 2 because it's not even, but I can divide it by 3. So now let's try 3 times 7. So 3 times 7 multiplied together, MN, will give me 21, which is what I have to have. And 3 plus 7 equals 10. What's that tell me? I'm done. All I got to do is use those now. Use them as what? My M and my N are going to add up, just like they add up right here. So now, some people are saying, I already know the answer, Mr. Chu. Well, I'm glad you do. That means it's getting easier for you. But when we do the next videos that I'm getting ready to tape here later, after this one, after I take a little break, they're not going to be easy. You're not going to be able to see them in your head. So I'm showing you a way that's always going to work. So the 10x is going to be written as 3x plus 7x. So I have x squared plus the 10x is 3x plus 7x. Don't you believe that's true? 3x plus 7x is 10x. Now I can factor by grouping. So I can put these first two together and these two together. I always have a student that says, what happens if I wrote this as 7x plus 3x? It'll still work. It would just flip these two around in the answer, which means you can multiply in any order. All right, so I have a common x here. That is the GCF. Factor it out. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I've got videos about how you factor GCFs. X times what is x squared? Well, x times x is x squared, and that's how you would reverse that using the distributive property. And when you multiply by x, you get 3x. 3. Now 7x plus 21, there's a GCF of 7. When you multiply by 7, you get 7x, x. When you multiply by 7, you get 21, 3. And if you've been watching any of my videos, you know about my boom baby. Because I live in Indiana where Reggie Miller used to fire the threes for the Indiana Pacers. And when I was teaching, I would underline this and look to the same thing, and I would say, boom, baby. And then I would write that down. Times, if I take this out and divide it out, what's left? An x. Take this out, divide it out, what's left? A 7. So my answer is x plus 3, x plus 7. You might see a shortcut. I'm not going to talk about it now because I'm going to need you to do everything I just did here when the problems are harder, because they're much harder. How can we check this? FOIL. X times x is x squared. Yep. That's the first. The outer. X times 7 plus the inner. 3 times x, so it's 7x plus 3x, which is 10x. And then the last, 3 times 7 is 21. Hopefully it's starting to make sense. Like my video. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Subscribe to my channel. And you'll be glad you did. I'm going to erase this where I was just talking about FOIL. And get rid of this. And I'm going to put challenge 2 over here now. All right. So let's write up challenge 2. And challenge 2 happens to be y squared plus 11y plus 28. And we know it's going to equal 2 binomials multiplied together. And we know that it's going to have to be a y and a y here. So when I learned this back years and years ago, I had to be taught how to do this using guess and check, and it took forever. I didn't know how to use this MN thing. All right, so you remember what we're doing? We're taking our A times our C, which is 1 times 28. So I'm going to erase this factor tree and put another one up here with a 28 in it. I'll get rid of this. We don't need it anymore. You could always stop your video and look back and see what was up here before. All right, so a 28 factor tree. We know 1 times 28 will give me 28. So I can go back over here and I can say, all right, that means that in a table that I use where we said the AC is 28, which means we have to find the M and the N, which is 28, and I'm going to list the M's times the N's here, and it's got to equal 28 or it didn't work. And then we know the B is this 11. So I know that M plus N has to be 11. It's not going to work. So I'm going to find my M plus my N here. Okay. So what did we just get? 1 and 28. So 1 times 28 equals 28. So I know that worked. And 1 plus 28 is 29. I know that that does not work. I just put a line through it. Now I know 28 is going to be 2 times 14, still 28. So I can put 2 times 14, which equals 28, that works. And 2 plus 14 is 16, and I need an 11. That didn't work. So this 14 is 2 times 7. Now you're saying, yeah, but what number can I get? Well, 1 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 7 is 28. And 4 plus 7 is 11. Is that what I need? Sure is. So I know to use those. Now, again, some people can write the answer now, but I want you to see how to use a factor by grouping. So I'm going to rewrite this 11y as 4 plus 7, just like I had it up here. So y squared plus 4y plus 7y plus 28. Remember what I said we do? We factor by grouping. So we group the first two together, second two together, factor the GCF. What's the GCF here? Y. What do you multiply by y to get y squared? Y. What do you multiply by y to get 4y? 4. Again, I have videos that will help you with this on my YouTube channel. The 7y plus 28, the GCF is 7. What do you multiply by 7 to get 7y? Y. What do you multiply by 7 to get 28? 4. Remember what I said about the basketball player? Boom, baby! So I factor out a y plus 4. If this is gone and factored out, I just have a y left. If this is gone and factored out, I have a 7 left. Let's FOIL it. First, y times y, y squared. Outer, y times 7, 7y, plus 4 times y, 4y. 7y plus 4y is 11y. And last, 4 times 7 is 28. And we did it right. Now, this was the challenge problems. So, if you want to click on the link that'll be up here and try 2 problems, just see if you understand it, if this is the first video you've watched. And these will be the example problems that I'm challenging you to do right now. So, example 1 is a squared plus 9a plus 20. It's going to get easier the more you do it, but you have to practice for it to get easier. Example 2, b squared plus 8b plus 12. Practice it. It'll get better. And remember, there's going to be a link up here that will have these 2 examples worked first after I talk about FOIL again. Down on the bottom down here will be a link, and these are in my YouTube channel after you subscribe. there'll be a playlist. The playlist of all factoring trinomials. Lots of different things about factoring the GCF and other things. So you need to practice. Once you practice, you will get better at this. Remember, I'm Mr. Chu. This is Bear Algebra. It's what I call my algebra video program, named after my soon-to-be 13-year-old Peekapoo. I'm Mr. Chu. I want to help you learn more about algebra. Subscribe to my channel, check out my videos, and I'll do my best to help you. And I'll see you in the next video.